I am coming to you live because I tried to upload Urban Legends Part 6 today, but unfortunately I don't have enough space on my camera, so I have to come live to do it here. And not only that, I couldn't finish the ending of Urban Legends Part 6, the ending story, so I'm gonna continue the ending of Urban Legends Part 5 and go straight into Part 6. Okay, so hope you guys enjoy and let's get it. Okay, so, did you hear the story about the little old lady? He said, and proceeded to tell the identical story, down to the machete taped to the man's leg and the axe he was sitting on. It should be easy enough to track her down, he said. He had heard the story from his running partner that morning. It had happened to his running partner's secretary's sister-in-law. It took a day to get in touch with the sister-in-law, who was more than helpful. Yes, she said it was true. However, there must be some misunderstanding because it hadn't actually happened to her, but to her friend's daughter's coworker. Would I like her to get me in touch with them? Yes, of course, but I already knew what was going to happen because I was beginning to realize what we were dealing with here, and that is more chilling. Still, because what we have here is an urban myth for our city and our season, and therefore, in a way, truer than mere fact. No need to explain here, but you will be careful, won't you? The next time you get out of the car late and have to walk to your car in the dark, and you'll look carefully before you open the door because maybe she'll be there, maybe she won't. Oh, probably she won't, and you'll laugh at yourself for looking before you slide into the front seat. How silly of you. But you'll always think about it now, won't you? That is something people probably keep thinking about. Every time before they get in the car, they'll look in the back seat. Okay, so that was the last story for part 5. Now here we go into part 6, you guys, and hope you enjoy it. Okay, this one is called The Boyfriend's Death. This story is about Peter Porter's grave, which is located in Shelburne, New Hampshire. Peter Porter was supposedly the last white man in the regions to be killed by Indians, and legend has it that his grave is haunted. The story goes that many years ago, a young couple drove to the deserted road near the site of the grave. They stopped the car and necked for a while when they were ready to leave. However, the car would not start. The young man decided to go for help while the woman stayed alone in the car. After a while, the woman could hear rain falling on the car. More time passed, but her boyfriend still did not return. She decided to turn on the headlights to see if he was coming down the road. When she did, what she saw was her boyfriend hanging from a tree with a knife sticking out of his abdomen. What she had thought was rain was really his blood dripping onto the car. I first heard this story at least 15 years ago. Maria Gale, age 10, speaking to the group of her fellow Navajo students. MG, I got one. One of my sisters told me that there was a boy and a girl. They were going to the dance. RD, squad dance, MG. Then they turned on the radio and the man said, watch out for this man that's a killer. And then he said, it's a hairy one. It's a what? MG, a hairy one. CYRDJD, a skinwalker. What the hell is a skinwalker? I don't know that much Spanish, but hello from Colombia. MG. And then the gas got empty, and then the boy said, wait for me, stay in the pickup, and I'll go get some gas. So the girl went, okay, and then she went in the back. I guess the skinwalker killed the boy and then chopped off his head. And then the girl was sitting in the back, and then she heard something on top of the car, and she was scared. Then she didn't look up. She kept hearing that, and then she saw her boyfriend's head chopped off. It was hanging down. Okay, so apparently both of them got their stories crossed. Okay, this one is called The Slasher Under the Car. Rumors of slashers at mall disputed. Nobody can find victims of robbers who hide under cars. Authorities have heard dozens of reports in recent weeks about robbers at Hanes Mall who hide under cars in the parking lot and slash shoppers' legs. to get at their packages, but nobody has found any victims. People have called the Winston-Salem Journal, the police, and the mall to try to confirm rumors about the supposed robbers, but police and hospital workers say they haven't seen any such cases. The thin thieves supposedly hide under shoppers' cars until the shoppers approach. As a victim unlocks a car door, the thief slashes the victim's lower leg. Less vicious versions report that a softer-hearted crook pricks the ankle with a sharp object. The slashed person falls, the story goes, and the thief wriggles from under the car, snatches purse and gifts, and runs off, arms laden with Christmas booty. Okay. Someone first called the Journal to ask about the reports about 2 weeks ago. Sergeant Charlie Taylor of the Winston-Salem Police Department reported hearing the same rumor then and checked into it. There were no police reports about such crimes, but the exploits of the thieves continued by word of mouth. One caller to the Journal said that Hanes Mall was keeping victims from reporting the crimes by giving them $500 gift certificates. Monday night, a radio dispatcher in the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department said that a deputy talked to a doctor who treated 18 slash patients in the emergency room at Forsyth Memorial Hospital. When reached, the deputy said he did not talk to the doctor, but a friend of his had. The friend was unavailable for comment. Frida Springs, a spokesman at Forsyth Memorial, talked to emergency room workers yesterday. They had heard the rumor, she said. They haven't treated any victims with slashed ankles. She said that the head nurse in the emergency room heard that the patients were being treated at Baptist Hospital, even though Forsyth is just across the road from the mall. A spokesman at Baptist said that emergency room workers there have not treated slasher victims and were not even aware of the rumor. Thomas E. Winstead, the Journal manager of the mall, said he had fielded questions about the non-existent crime wave. I've heard it. I've had it mentioned to me at parties. Several store personnel have called me to ask about it, he said. He said he heard similar rumors at other shopping centers he has managed. Unfortunately, I can't do anything to stop the rumor, but fortunately, there's no truth to it either, he said. Captain Roscoe Pouncey of the police department said that parking lot crime at shopping mall centers actually seems to be lower this year than in previous years. He said last week that there had only been one robbery in the Hanes Mall parking lot during December. So apparently that one was bullshit. So, but, okay, so this next one is called The Elephant That Sat on the VW. It was a good story. Oh, it says, we popped the elephant myth. Okay, it was a good story. A reliable guy called the Philadelphia Bulletin and said a girl he works with knows a woman who took her kids to the Philadelphia Zoo. When she came out, there was a big dent in her Volkswagen, and a zoo employee was waiting in the parking lot. He said an elephant being unloaded from a truck sat on the Volkswagen and the zoo would pay the damages. On her way home, the woman was mistakenly stopped for leaving the scene of an accident. She told the policeman she hadn't been in the accident she had just passed. The dent in her car was caused by an elephant sitting on it. She was given a sobriety test at a police station. Finally, the police called the zoo and confirmed her story. The reliable guy said he would get the name and address of the woman and call right back. He never did. That was no promise, no surprise. A call to the zoo immediately established that no Volkswagen has ever been abused by one of its elephants and that the zoo officials have heard this one before. Within 2 weeks, another reliable person from another part of the area called another bulletin reporter and told him the same story. How these stories begin to circulate is a mystery, but anybody who has his Volkswagen dented by an elephant might as well keep quiet about it. No newspaper man will believe him. I guess not, right? Okay. This one is, let's see. Yeah, okay, this one is called The arrest. Every profession has its legends, and police work is no exception. Here's the latest wild and woolly yarn to do the rounds of Fairfax County law enforcement circles. Seems a local motorist was pulled over by a local police officer. The motorist had had a bit too much to drink. Correction. He had had a lot too much to drink. He flunked the breathalyzer test, the walk the straight line test, and the get out of the car without falling on your face test. So, as any cop would in this situation, the officer announced that the motorist was under arrest. But at that very moment, on the other side of the road, a terrible accident took place. The police officer ran across the road to investigate. Because the accident was a messy one, the officer was busy with it for quite some time. So the inebriated motorist figured the cop had lost interest in him. He hopped behind the wheel and drove off. However, the inebriated motorist hopped behind was the wheel of the police car. When the cops finally tracked the guy down a couple of hours later, they found the police car parked in his garage. I heard this one before. It was in a movie or something. It tracked him down a couple hours. The motorist was still running. The motor was still running, and the dome lights were still spinning and flashing. Ever since, according to the story, the police have been so embarrassed by what happened that they've tried to hush it up. However, Fairfax County Police spokesman Warren Carmichael says there's only one thing wrong with the story. It almost certainly isn't true. Certain stories develop and they seem to get a life of their own. Carmichael told researcher Karina Porcelli. This one has had an especially long life, Carmichael said. He first heard it about 2 years ago and had been hearing it around Fairfax County ever since. Captain Kurt Durham of the Fairfax City Police confirmed that yarn's longevity. He says he first heard it about 18 months ago at a party and has been hearing it steadily from then on. But neither policeman has been able to verify the story, and both say they'd know about it if the incident had really happened. So yeah, that's probably unlikely. I can understand why people would want to spread this one. As legends go, it's top ranked, but since its truth is doubtful, let's give the tale early retirement, okay? The police have enough troubles without being accused of losing cars they almost certainly didn't lose. Okay, so yeah, that one, I highly doubt that one really actually happened. So, okay, this one is called The Body on the Car. A man came home at 2 a.m. drunk as a skunk, but he had managed to drive his car all the way home and to get it parked in the driveway before he stumbled into the house and fell asleep on the living room couch. The next morning, he was rudely awakened by his wife's screams. She had gone outside to pick up the newspaper and glanced over at his car. There, embedded on the front grille of the car, she saw the twisted body of an 8-year-old girl. Oh my God. I know that can't be true. Okay, that was it for that story. Well, I'm not sure if that one's true or not. I hope it wasn't, though, because that's sad. Okay, the next one is called The Wife Left Behind. In 1986, a family from Oregon traveling in their RV through California stopped at a freeway interchange restaurant. The wife went to the restroom and her husband drove off without her, believing she had gone to the back of their vehicle for a nap. He drove 300 miles before discovering his error. They were reunited with the help of the highway patrol. Wow, seriously? Like, that's it for that one? Yep. Some of these are just really short and like crazy. I could believe that one in an RV. Like, if it's an RV, yeah, I would, like, that an accident like that could happen. Okay, this one is called, oh my God, The Baby on the Roof. Did you hear about this couple driving through southern Utah? They were on their way to California and they went to change drivers. And the wife took the baby out of the car and put him on the roof of the car. Then they both switched sides and got back into the car. She just assumed that the husband had put the baby back in, but he hadn't even seen it. They drove off and the baby slid off, but he was okay. because he was in a plastic infant seat. About 2 hours later, they realized that they forgot the baby. So they drove back, and someone had stopped for the baby, and the baby was okay. Alrighty, that one was a quick one. But that's crazy. I don't know if I believe that one or not. But, okay, so, and this one is called The Nut in the Tire Nuts. Okay. Summarized, found both as published puzzle story and an oral legend. A motorist changing a flat accidentally loses the 4 tire nuts from the wheel. A mentally retarded person, or perhaps an escapee from a nearby asylum, comes by and suggests a simple way to solve the problem. What's the answer? How to tell this story to write the most enjoyment from this incident. It is imperative that the story embrace enough of the following detail for the listener to fully visualize the incident. The scene was rural at near dusk, with the point made that the flat tire was on the left rear wheel and occurred while the motorist was driving along a winding 2-lane rural road. The motorist drove off the road just a few feet from a fence surrounding the mental institution where an inmate was leaning idly against the fence. After the driver, here a stuffed shirt, pompous type, can be identified, confidently jacked up the left rear of the car, thinking he would demonstrate his efficiency to the inmate observer. He took off the wheel cover, the hubcap, back in the 50s, and placed it concave side up, behind him on the edge of the paving. The wheel had 5, not 4, lug nuts. As the driver removed the nuts with his lug wrench, he carefully disposited each lug nut in the wheel cover for what he intended to be efficient retrieval. The motorist then retreated to the trunk of his car to get the spare tire and wheel. Just as he lifted the wheel from the trunk, he noticed an automobile approaching on his side of the road. Conscious of his own safety, the man discreetly stepped back until the car could go by, then watched in dismay as the passing car's right front wheel hit the edge of the wheel cover, launching the 5 lug nuts into space and scattering them over a wide area. His hands and knees searching along the shoulders of the road and in the wild ground cover along the roadside, in the diminishing daylight, produced only 1 lug nut. Holding the single lug nut between a thumb and a forefinger, the driver was dejectedly contemplating his predicament when the inmate who had been watching the whole episode spoke up. He suggested that the driver take 1 lug nut from each of the other 3 wheels, which would give him 4 for the spare wheel and permit him to drive safely to a service station to replace the lost lug nuts. The driver, in his grateful astonishment, said, "Thanks for the great idea. But what in the world is someone as intelligent and resourceful as you doing in a mental institution?" The response, "I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid." Oh, shit, that's a good one. Okay, this one is called The Pig on the Road. A friend of mine was driving along happily, minding his own business, when all of a sudden a woman driver came tearing around the corner in the opposite direction of the wrong side of the road. Passing him, she rolled down the window and shouted, "Pig!" My friend, quite astonished by this insult, replied, "Silly old cow." On turning the corner, he drove straight into a herd of pigs. Okay. That's it for that one. Alrighty. Some of these are funny. This one and the one is called Let's Give Toll Takers a Hand. I was in Johns Hopkins Medical School at the time. As a prank, somebody cut one of the fingers off the cadaver I was working on and kept it. When I went to turn in the cadaver, I couldn't account for the finger. I knew who done it. So the next day, while he was doing eye dissection on the leg, I took the arm off his cadaver and snuck it out. I put it in an ice chest and drove out of the Beltway around Baltimore. At a toll booth, I stuck the frozen arm out of the window with some money in the hand and left the toll attendant with the arm. This got back to the president of the school, who was Dwight Eisenhower's brother, Milton, a real fucking hawk. He told me to take a leave of absence and reconsider my commitment to medical school. I thought that was probably a good idea. I said, great. A week later, I had my draft notice. They turned me right into the board. Okay. Oh man, that is crazy. I'm surprised he didn't get arrested for that. I mean, if something like that really happened, yeah. Okay, this is the last story. It's called The Bargain Sports Car. In front of the guy, this is really short. In front of the guy who told me this story, sometime in the mid-1970s, needed to get another car, since his old one was falling apart and barely running anymore. All he could afford was another used car, so he started reading the want ads, looking for a bargain. He saw an ad for a 65 Chevy for sale at $200, so he called the number. The woman who answered sounded elderly, and she said that the car was still for sale and the price was as advertised. So he got his old clunker started and went over to take a look at the old Chevy. The old woman took him out to the garage, and when she opened the door and pulled off the tarp covering the car, he couldn't believe his eyes. It was a 1965 Corvette, bright red, up on blocks, mint condition, and not a scratch on it. He held his breath as he got out of his checkbook, poised his pen over it, and asked one more time, $200? Yes, the old woman said. She explained that her son had left the car with her when he was sent to Vietnam, but he was killed in action. She now just wanted to get rid of it and the memories that it inspired. So she called the car dealer and asked how much a 1965 Chevy might be worth. And he said maybe $200. Is that too much? She asked. After all, it's 10 years old. And it's pretty small. It only holds 2 people. The friend of a friend assured her that this was not too high a price to ask for a car. Wow. I think she got screwed into that one. But, alrighty. Okay, so the next, I would say the car series is over. The next series will be entitled Sexcapades, so that sounds interesting. So be on the lookout for Urban Legends Part 7, you guys. So I will leave that here for today, because I am waiting for company, so I gotta get going. But if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Anytime you want to be notified of a new video, just hit that post notification bell down below in the corner. You know, until next time, you guys, love y'all, God bless, and laters. Peace.